Hello everyone, my name is Kofi Bamfo and welcome to my channel. Have you ever felt so much fear over a situation that has not happened yet, but you felt that situation is worth generating fear over? Or have you ever been so angry about something that has already happened that you can hardly sleep? You wake up in the middle of the night thinking about how angry you are over what took place, or how afraid you are about what's going to happen. What adds to the self-judgment is that you've been in this situation before, and just like the last time, you reacted the same way. These are the thoughts that proliferate through the echo chambers of your psyche as these feelings course through your mind, through your body, so powerful you lose confidence to move forward. Let's get right into today's conversation. This physical world we exist in is made up of a trinity. The polarity of positive and negative, and the balance point of neutrality in the center. Physical reality is just a denser form or a denser reflection of existence itself, or of God, because God is a trinity made up of the positive consciousness, the negative consciousness, and the one, knowing itself to be these two polarities, is in the center of the balance point of neutrality. This world is a physical representation of darkness and light, positive and negative coexisting. Everything in its molecular structure is made up of this trinity, even down to the subatomic particle of an atom, proton, which represents positive, electron, which represents the negative, and the neutron, which represents the neutral state. Even the brain, the human antenna, has three parts. And like I said before, the human psyche is made up of three components: the positive, the negative, and the neutral. We see this trinity all around us, so you can't get away from it. You are it. We are made of it. So physical reality is a playing field for transformation, transforming darkness to light, negative to positive. We are chemists. This is what we signed up for, your destiny. The themes you chose to explore when you came to Earth will be your greatest challenge based on the circumstances you were born into. Looking back throughout history, there have always been periods of great negativity that have been transformed with the introduction of light. This goes on and on and on and never ends. So since negativity is in us and all around us, how do we transform it and experience more positivity without invalidating the negative? And like I've said repeatedly, invalidating the negative is like holding a beach ball underwater. You're putting your focus on it, you're putting your energy on it, and because it has nowhere else to go, it's going to shoot back in your face. You see this a lot in Christianity, where a pastor will rail against sexual abuse, constantly talking about sexual abuse, and wind up sexually abusing one of their congregants. So how do you transform your negative beliefs, your negative thoughts, which amounts to your experience? You neutralize them by being conscious of it, by being self-aware. Every circumstance is fundamentally neutral. In other words, it doesn't have a built-in meaning. You give it meaning through your belief system, whether it be a negative belief or a positive belief. Your belief system is generating your experience through circumstances. So the meaning you put into it is the meaning you get out of it. Words. Your definition of words are a signature vibration that attracts either the positive filter or the negative filter, depending on what you believe to be most likely or true. So the negative belief, because it knows it's not inherently true, will do everything in its power to convince you that it's who you are. And because it knows that you are truly infinite, indestructible, complete, and whole, it has to do everything and throw everything at you to get you to hold on to what it's telling you. So it will constantly remind you of your history to anchor itself, solidify itself, to make it impossible to let it go. It will remind you of such stories as, oh, the reason why I have anger issues or a temper is because my father had a temper, and growing up, he would punch holes in the walls, break things around the house to work through his anger, and that's the way I respond the way I do. Or, I have abandonment issues because my daddy disappeared when I was a child, and he didn't love me enough to stay, and that's why I believe I'm not capable of being loved. You get the picture. These are stories the negative belief will create in order to convince you that this is who you are and that there's nothing you can do to change that. So just accept the misery and learn to live with it. I don't know, maybe self-medicate. It might help you feel better. Just as an analogy to give you an idea of how negative beliefs work, it will create a home in your psyche, and it will decorate that home with a comfortable couch to keep you comfy, unable to take action, because the moment you sit on it, you just want to go right to sleep. It will create this home with all kinds of hoarded thoughts or beliefs you don't want to get rid of because they have a sentimental value to a past relationship with trauma or family or a specific event. It will hang portraits on the walls of your psyche, portraits going as far back as your great-great-grandmother to remind you why you're poor, why you fail in relationships, why you lack self-confidence, why you lack self-worth, why you have low self-esteem, why nothing seems to go right in your life. Negative beliefs will keep you in the past in order to preserve itself. Or it will use a fear-induced, terrifying story of an inevitable future to keep you from moving forward. It will amplify and remind you of a time when you lost everything trying to start that business. So you don't want to do that again. Think of what could happen to you. It's too scary. So just stay here with me where it's safe on this comfy couch. So negative beliefs will do everything in its power to keep you in the past and surreptitiously utilize the past to paint a scary future. It will never insist on you being present. It will never encourage you to live in the moment because it knows in the present it has the potential to lose its power because in the present you can see things from an objective, neutral point of view. The present is all there is. The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is now. Anything that could happen, will happen, happens now. Every moment is a different now moment. Negative beliefs thrive in the subconscious and usually hide behind the veil of obfuscation and will do whatever it takes to keep you from discovering it's there, including convincing you that it doesn't exist. There's nothing you need to change. It will distract you from investigating your beliefs. Negative beliefs will convince you that it's too exhausting to go looking for it. And even if you did, something much worse will come up and it will be too unbearable to deal with. So why bother? It will use fear to keep you from investigating it. Such fears as, well, if you go looking for why you have abandonment issues, you're going to find out no one truly ever loved you. No one cares about you. No one's thinking about you. In fact, I'm the only one that's ever had your back. I'm the only one that's ever looked out for you. So just leave it alone. Don't go down that rabbit hole. Just trust me. Negative beliefs are generated by our feelings. Our feelings are generated by our definitions. You can't have a feeling about anything without having a definition about that thing first. Remember, circumstances doesn't have a built-in meaning. It is completely neutral. So if you're generating a negative feeling about any circumstances, take a look at your definition. Shine the light on it. Acknowledge that it's there. Now you can work with it. Now you can let it go. Such beliefs as, oh, my life is too hard. Well, that's a negative belief generated by the word hard. And because you've chosen to define your experience that way, it's going to reflect back to you hardship. Because that's what you're asking for it to do. Remember, physical reality is a reflection. That's all it is. It doesn't have a built-in meaning of its own. It's just a reflection, a mirror. So if you're standing in front of a mirror and you're asking the mirror or telling the mirror, well, why aren't you smiling at me? Well, I don't care how long you stand there, it will never, ever smile back unless you decide to smile first. Another popular negative belief is, I'm always broke. Well, if you choose to define your life that way, you're going to experience being broke because you cannot experience what you're not the vibration of first. In other words, if you're defining your circumstances as being broke, then you cannot perceive abundance even if it smacks you dead in the face. You cannot see it because you're not the vibration of it. Money is not the only form of abundance. I repeat, Money is not the only form of abundance, and because you're so focused on lack or being broke, you cannot perceive any other form of abundance because you're not open to it. Now, here's the challenge with all of this. Even though physical reality is a reflection of our consciousness and what you put out is what you get back, when you throw time in the equation, things might not happen instantaneously. It might take time. Even though it may or may not take time for your circumstance to change, the time it takes will bring to the surface what you truly believe in your heart. So you can't lie to yourself. Because oftentimes we like to think that we're being positive until things don't go the way we planned it, or things don't change right away. And what we truly believe rises to the surface, which is usually a negative definition that's keeping that circumstance or that situation the same. So time, if you use it in a positive way, will give you the opportunity to dig down in search of the negative core belief. Negative beliefs, to avoid being discovered, will hide behind smoke and mirrors. Secondary and tertiary beliefs, it will use decoys, red herrings, to keep you from discovering the core belief. Once you discover that core belief, the secondary and tertiary beliefs will make no sense, and because it has no more foundation, will fall away. Discovering the core belief is like pulling on the thread. The moment you begin to pull on it, the whole thing becomes unraveled. It will get you to focus on out there instead of in here. This is just the beginning on this conversation of negative beliefs. There's a whole lot more. Until next time, my name is Kofi Bamfo. Be well.